The 2025 track and field season has finally ended, and unlike most athletics campaigns, this season ended with the World Championships in Tokyo, Japan. This epic ending of 2025 was a true who's who of athletics greats. But in reviewing this year's World Champs that brought us countless unforgettable moments, which performance was truly the greatest of them all? You can make a case for Mondo Duplantis from Sweden, who broke his 14th world record in just 5 seasons in the men's pole vault. You could also make quite the case for the men's marathon, which literally ended in a photo finish after a race that took more than 2 hours to complete. A few other unforgettable moments included Beatrice Chebet from Kenya achieving the ever-elusive 5,000 and 10,000 meter double. There was Ethan Katzberg breaking the championship record in the men's hammer throw. And of course, we have to mention Ryan Crouser from the United States, who won the World Championships in the men's shot put for the 3rd straight time, despite literally not competing all season. The amount of amazing performances and unique individuals that we saw in this year's World Champs was unlike any other season before it. But which performance definitively stood above the rest and cemented its position as the greatest of 2025? Question: how many championship record performances went down in the 2025 World Athletics Championships? Think it over for a second. There were some big names, some primetime moments, and while I thought the answer was around 4, the reality was that we saw 8 new championship records go down. 8 new records in this one competition. As the years go by, you would think that these historic marks, world records, and once-in-a-lifetime moments would only get harder and harder to come by. But with the talent pool in today's athletics landscape, we still see many records fall during every new championship season. Now, in analyzing many of these incredible achievements here, there were a few ways that we could look at the greatest moment. There's looking at the highest world athletics score achieved by an individual. There's the rarity of any specific achievement in these world champs. There's overcoming impossible odds by reaching a much higher level than you were supposed to. And then there's sheer dominance over your opponents, proving untouchable status in your event. There's honestly many ways that we could look at the greatest performance this season, but to start off, we need to address the most obvious performance of them all that ranks higher than any other moment in these championships. Mondo Duplantis' pole vault world record. This was not only the highest score on the World Athletics table with a total score of 1,350, but this was also the most dominant of them all, as this 6.30 meter jump was 4.8% higher than anyone else in this field, despite the competition reaching 6 meters as well. This is pure dominance to a level that we have rarely seen in the history of any sport. But the fact is that Mondo has been doing this for years now, which doesn't make it any less impressive, but from a rareness perspective, this has almost become the expectation for the Swedish superstar. Now, in terms of rarity, the fact is that Beatrice Chebet achieved something that is so uncommon that it really only happens once in a generation. In the 5,000 and the 10,000 meters, Chebet won this double gold medal with a 5,000 time of 14:54 and a 10,000 performance of 30 minutes and 37 seconds. But it was also the manner in which she achieved this double that made it so special. In the 10,000, Chebet unleashed one of the greatest kicks in modern running history, as she closed her final 100 in 13.46. But over in the 5,000, she put forth an even faster finish, as she closed this final 100 in 13.44 seconds. Chebet's unbelievable double was so significant because this comes after achieving the 5K and 10K double in last year's Paris Olympics, and throughout all of running history, only 3 other athletes have ever achieved this distance double, and these athletes include Lasse Viren from Finland, Mo Farah from Great Britain, and also Tirunesh Dibaba from Ethiopia. However, to repeat this double at the World Champs after the Olympic double places her next to only Mo Farah, making this moment a true rarity in the sport of athletics. Chebet has placed herself next to some of the greatest distance athletes of all time, but based on the simple fact that she has run much faster in the past, it's a little bit challenging to say that this was definitively the greatest performance of 2025. However, if we go over to one absolutely legendary athlete, we can see that this one performance marks something that has never happened before in the sport of track and field. In the women's 1500, Faith Kipyegon proved that she has not just become the greatest in the world right now, but she is easily the greatest of all time. It's quite common practice to throw the word GOAT around at times, as it represents the greatest of all time. But for this specific individual, she has earned it to such a degree that it's practically an undisputable fact at this point. With a finishing time of 3:52.15, Kipyegon won this women's 1500 by more than 2.5 seconds, a downright ridiculous margin of victory in a middle distance event. But what this victory really means is an undisputed GOAT status to the likes of which we have never seen before. You see, in the 1500 meters, on both the men's and the women's sides, there's honestly no disputing at who's the greatest. It is Faith Kipyegon, as she has now become the first person in history to win 3 Olympic titles and 4 World Championship titles. Also, and this is something that easily grants Faith this golden GOAT status, is the fact that she has not lost a single 1500 since 2021. And in total, she has remained untouchable for 34 consecutive 1500 races since the 2021 season. This unbeaten status includes 2 Olympic golds, 3 World Championship titles, various Diamond League wins, and many other victories from around the world. At 31 years old, Kipyegon has managed to outperform the world's best athletes and solidify herself as a true generational talent. And for this year's World Championships in Tokyo, she used this as a true red carpet moment, and there was simply no one that could stand with her tempo. Also, for this 1500 gold, Faith managed to run her final 400 in 58.72 seconds, a pace that gave her more than a 2-second gap of separation over the second-placed athlete in this 1500. If all of this wasn't already enough to prove her GOAT status, then check out these additional stats. In 2012, she won the World Junior Championships in Barcelona in the 1500, achieving a time of 4:04.96, which broke the championship record. And if we go back one more year to 2011, we can see Faith Kipyegon winning the World Youth Championships, which includes all athletes under 18, as she won with a time of 4:09.48. And yes, this was yet another championship record. At literally every corner, in practically every single way imaginable, Faith Kipyegon has won a 1500-meter title, and the odds are she's broken the record in that event. Faith's 2025 1500 gold was a form of cementing herself in history forever. I honestly can't think of any other athlete in any event that has a youth gold, a junior gold, 3 Olympic golds, and 4 World Championship gold medals. Plus, she also has 5 Diamond League Championship titles to her name, plus a slew of cross-country gold medals. If you can think of an athlete like this that has this history and this depth, leave that athlete down below, and maybe they can reach Faith status. There's honestly a case to be made for various performances in this World Championships as the greatest, as this more or less is a subjective thing to look at. But from my perspective, based on her history, based on her dominance, based on her winning streak, Faith Kipyegon's 1500 gold was the single greatest moment in this year's World Track and Field Championships. Thanks for watching, everyone. Until next time.